The Steelers and the Dolphins have pulled off the blockbuster trade of the summer. Miami sending All-Pro cornerback Jalen Ramsey to the Steelers for All-Pro safety Minkah Fitzpatrick. Ramsey and the Fins were in the midst of a contract dispute, mutually agreed to explore trade options back in April. The trade will also send Pro Bowl tight end Jonnu Smith to the Steelers as well. Taking a look at the rest of the trade deals, Pittsburgh receiving Jalen Ramsey, Jonnu Smith, a 2027 second-round pick. Smith will be signing a one-year, $12 million extension. Miami gets Minkah Fitzpatrick, a fifth-round pick, and the 2027 NFL Draft. Here's more from Logan Ryan.
We got our Super Bowl champ Logan Ryan joining us now on HQ, looking at the top 5 secondaries as we enter the 2025 NFL season. Now, things are changing, Logan. We got news breaking all the time. We're going to work our way down to the number 1 secondary, but kicking it off at 5 in a team that was just involved in a mega trade. Who do you have at 5?
Yeah, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers here. Obviously the hottest team as of late with the mega trade. And this is what I do. This is what I roll out of bed thinking about secondaries and breaking that down to people, right? And this was a tough spot. There's a lot of other teams that could have come at 5 here. I'm much more sure about the other 4. That's because Pittsburgh has a lot of potential. And it's scary what they can do. Obviously, you add Jalen Ramsey in, right? You brought in Darius Slay. Look at those 2 guys. That's a pretty good list. So they got 2 of those guys on their team. And then they have Joey Porter Jr. at the corner spot. Now, what is Ramsey going to play? Is he going to play safety? Is he going to play corner? When you have 3 good corners like this, Jalen Ramsey has played the nickel. He'll definitely put on the inside, and maybe you slide him at safety in some sets. But they're going to put their 3 corners on the field a lot. They have Juan Thornhill, who's been a good free safety in this league, with Deshaun Elliott coming off a good year. So they are scary on paper, but these guys have not played together. Some of these guys are a little bit older, so they got to piece it together. But what Pittsburgh has done is put a secondary together to compete with some of these receiving cores in this AFC North. The AFC North is going to be a top division to watch this year. I'm excited to see it. Pittsburgh trying to show what a dominant secondary, trying to show what Jalen Ramsey as their chess piece to move the board on certain positions, certain games, certain matchups.
All right, so you said this is what you think about, this is what you dream about, you wake up thinking about this. You had some questions about number 5, but pretty confident in your top 4. And at number 4, it's a team you are very familiar with. Why is it the Patriots?
No bias here. No bias on the Super Bowl winning. It's my team. The New England Patriots are legit in this secondary, and I'm going to tell you why. They have 2 stud number 1 corners. Let's talk about Christian Gonzalez. He is up there in the upper elite cornerback. Pat Surtain, Derek Stingley, Christian Gonzalez. He is up there with that type of talent. Now, obviously, he had an injury, but he's going to come back. He's going to be better. For what I'm hearing, he has lit the world on fire in off-season training. He has been balling out. And I've heard that from Carlton Davis, another guy I played with on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He was our number 1 corner. By the way, he's a Super Bowl champion. So when you're a Super Bowl champion and you've been the number 1 corner on your team since your 2nd year in the league, that is a lot of responsibility. He travels with number 1 wide receivers. Look what Jamar Chase said his toughest cover was. Carlton Davis. Well, now you have Christian Gonzalez who travels. So they have 2 number 1s, and not every team has that. Very few teams have that. You throw in Jabril Peppers, Kyle Duggar, 2 playmaking safeties. Now, they're both strong safeties, bigger safeties, but they're both really great playmakers. We know Jabril Peppers' college career, what he can do with the ball in his hands, and Kyle Duggar has been a playmaker when he's healthy. So this isn't a real explosive, talented secondary, but when you have 2 number 1 guys, come crunch time, they can go cover their side of the field. That makes the defense a lot of fun for Mike Vrabel.
Oh, it's going to be fun to watch. Yeah, no bias there, of course. Of course not. At number 3, we have a team that has a good mix of experienced veterans, promising young talent. Talk to me about the Broncos.
Yeah, a lot of people would have the Broncos number 1 or number 2 because of what they did last year. They were a top defense last year. Obviously, you have the Defensive Player of the Year in Pat Surtain. And to win that award at corner is very hard to do. Like Darrelle Revis never did that, won that award at cornerback. You look at the list, that is very, very hard to do. Few and far between, right? So we know how great Pat Surtain is. He is the crown jewel of defensive back play in the NFL. Now, obviously, you pair him with Riley Moss, his boy on the other side. There's other white corners in the league other than Cooper DeJean. Riley Moss is one of them. He's a good corner as well. And then they drafted Jahdae Barron in the draft out of Texas. I loved him coming out versatile. He's going to slide into that nickel spot, right? And then they play a lot of zone. They play very safe and sound and smart, and they have some good safeties, Brandon Jones, to do that. But then you add in a guy Hufanga, the Tongan Tiger there from the San Francisco 49ers, another guy that I played with. I played with all these guys. He is a playmaker. He is a guy that took the league by storm. He tore his ACL, unfortunately, and had some injuries his last couple of years. But they brought him over with some potential. That guy is a playmaker. So they got a safe and sound secondary that plays a lot of zone, can match up here and there, and they got some playmakers in Jahdae Barron and Hufanga. Now, Riley Moss's coverage ability is not going to be as strong as some of these other DB units I'm going to break down next, but Denver Broncos, for what they did last year and their additions, definitely slides in my top 3, and that's going to be debatable. Some guys might have them higher.
Some might have them higher. You said you're going to break down some of the DBs coming up next, and one of those teams we're going to talk about is your number 2 team, and that's the Houston Texans.
Oh, man, the Houston Texans are loaded. Behind another Defensive Player of the Year candidate, obviously after Surtain, was Derek Stingley Jr. I mean, we knew what he was come out of college. He kind of had that freaky tape, and he can play. He is up there in the upper echelon of cornerbacks that we know, and he proved that, and he's earned that by that contract there. Look at that. That's the highest paid corner in the league by far. Like, it's not close. It's $5 million a year by far, and he's earned every dollar of that. What he has to do going backwards is a lot harder than rusher the passer, in my biased opinion. It really is. But you pair him with Kamari Lassiter, and that's a lot of speed out there. Look at them last year in their NFL ranks of INTs and completion percent. This is a great young duo. They have speed on the edge. They can cover these guys. Maybe not as good as the Patriots, but these guys are young, and they can cover them. But what I do like about them to make them a top 2 secondary are their safeties. Jalen Petrie is going to get paid a lot of money to play safety in this league. You heard it here first. That's no spoiler alert. I'm not his agent. That guy can play. That's the type of tape that you watch, you turn on, and he flashes. Jalen Petrie, just a matter of time. He is a very young, dynamic, fun safety to watch. Then you add in Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Now, that's the Patrick Beverley of our league. A lot of guys don't like him, but wherever he goes, that secondary plays well. Wherever he goes, he's been finding the ball lately, and those teams seem to perform well. He's coming off a Super Bowl appearance there for the Philadelphia Eagles. So you have him and Petrie and those 2 young corners. You cannot take any credit away from these guys. These guys are young. They have attitude. They are flashy, and they're going to be a top secondary in this league, and they're acting like it, and they have all the potential to be that.
All right, you're talking about young. You look at our number 1 team that you have on the list here, built with 5 first-round picks. Logan, walk us through your number 1 team.
I mean, this secondary, the Baltimore Ravens, what they did with Jair Alexander is borderline unfair and going to go down on paper. They got to play. On paper, one of the best secondaries we've had in a long time. Mm-hmm. And I played in some good ones, but they're going to be like that. They're going to get a nickname. They're that good of a secondary. Where do we start? Let's start with Marlon Humphrey, right? The perennial Pro Bowler, All-Pro. He's going to play the nickel. That's his best position. That's when he makes his All-Pro every single year. You look how they ended the year last year, just absolutely first in every category. So Marlon Humphrey is going to be that nickel piece, probably the best in the NFL at the time, right now. Then you have Jair Alexander and Nate Wiggins. Now, Jair Alexander, people know what he can do. People know his attitude. People know what he does when he's healthy. He is following guys. He is a number 1 corner in that conversation of these other guys that I mentioned. And to be that, you got to be a guy that can follow guys across the field and lock down number 1 wide receivers. He's proven to do that. You pair him with Nate Wiggins, 4.2 speed on the other side. So your weakest link, you're throwing out a first-round corner that runs 4.2. You go to the safety position. They really got better when they moved Kyle Hamilton from the slot back to free safety last year, allowing him to be the eyes in that back of that defense. That's where he's going to go. Top 2 safety in the NFL. That's not up for debate. Kyle Hamilton is a versatile piece. And then Malachi Starks, first-round draft pick out of Georgia. I worked with him in this process. He's one of the smartest rookie DBs, young DBs I've ever worked with on the board. All these guys are versatile. All these guys can play multiple positions. All these guys have made Pro Bowls or got drafted in the first round for talent purposes. Oh, and by the way, their 4th corner is Awuzie, who's a number 1 or number 2 corner on other teams. So their 4th corner, who's not going to get on the field, is a number 2 corner for a lot of other franchises in Awuzie. So they have 4 great corners, 2 really versatile safeties, and Marlon Humphrey, who's one of the most versatile corners in the league. You put that all on paper, these guys are going to have everything they need to be smart, versatile, physical, and could play man-to-man down the stretch.
All right, I'm not going to put you on the spot right now because I hate doing that to people, but next time we chat, I want a good nickname for this Ravens secondary because, as you said, they're going to be nasty this year. We gotta come up with something good for them right off the bat. Logan Ryan with the top 5 secondaries heading in to the 2025 NFL season. Thanks, Logan.